He is still a beast.
I didn't play very good at all.
No, you did not, Aaron. And Daniel, oh my God, Daniel, that's terrifying. Welcome to the real winners and losers from NFL Week 10. Crazy week. A week where the Panthers lost to the one-win Saints after defeating the one-loss Packers last week. A week where the Dolphins convincingly handled the Bills. A week where the team getting body slammed won. The Browns held the Jets to less than 175 yards, never turned the ball over, and became the first team since 1950 to lose while doing that. Matthew Stafford and Jonathan Taylor look like the two true MVPs. The Giants fired Brian Daboll, and Monday Night Football was so bad I actually thanked ESPN for not allowing that shit to air on YouTube TV. Before I, at Brandon Perna, Twitter, Instagram, reveal the real winners and losers, we must embrace the Blop 10 plays. 10 plays so gruesome, not even Daniel Jones would try to eat them while they sleep. And I've got a bonus for you this week. Blop hair. Buffs quarterback Julian Lewis had his hair ripped out against West Virginia. You could literally see it on the field. Usually you just leave blood, sweat, and tears on the field, but I guess any form of DNA will do. The Levis 11? Let's go into Marcus Mariota, who did it again for a second week in a row.
Jumps in the air for some reason.
Mariota jumps in the air for some reason. A leap that goes nowhere. Feels like a metaphor for the Commanders season. It's so bad in Washington, their fans are talking shit to long snappers and then getting tackled by security. If you're gonna run onto the field, you better be more athletic than a long snapper, buddy. Blop 10, we've got a true boomer moment. Have you ever been, showing your friends a text message with a naked woman in it while you're on live TV? No? Well, Gio did from Boomer and Gio's morning show.
It's a naked woman with giant breasts.
Blop 9, bloody-lipped Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones took a beating in Germany and was bleeding from his mouth, making him look like the son of the Joker and Steve Buscemi from Billy Madison. A villain I think only Quentin Tarantino may be equipped to create a film about. Blop 8, Rico Dowdle does no pumps during his celebration. I, for one, greatly appreciate the NFL reminding us all that abstinence is cool. Remember, the only safe sex is no sex. Rico Dowdle was joined by Aaron Jones in his No Pump November campaign for abstinence. Blop 7, this is not an NFL official speaking German.
Plus, they offered to wind the clock so it really ends the game at this point. End of regulation, we'll roll to.
I'm not sure what he said there.
But I've got to imagine that there's a German word out there for speaking as many words as possible while simultaneously saying nothing at all. Wait, I know German. I think it's der Blutsinn. Someone say Blutsinn? Ah, God, no, Danny! Blop 6, Tony Romo says the Patriots are DTF?
This team is DTF, Jim.
You might be LOLing or saying WTF right now, but we all know DTF means dreading toes and feet. And yes, that applies to anyone who has had to spend time with Mac Hollins. Blop 5, Armand Membao hilariously celebrates offsides on 4th down that effectively wins the game for the Jets. And I support this entirely. This is basically a touchdown dance for offensive linemen. In fact, they should all run to the end zone like defenses do after a turnover. Blop 4, the Saints blocked a field goal, but lost possession of the ball because Carolina recovered the ball as it went past the line of scrimmage. I don't think I knew that was a rule. The rule I did know is that Carolina would turn it over a few plays later because they are not allowed to enjoy anything nice for very long. Blop 3, Wan'Dale Robinson trying to make a catch with the game on the line in the 4th quarter for the Giants, immediately followed by Russell Wilson's final throw. I know his arm was hit, but that shit is funny. Unless, of course, you're Brian Daboll, who got fired yesterday. Blop 2, Commanders running back Chris Rodriguez may or may not have tried to decapitate a photographer after scoring a touchdown here. A moment of silence for what would have been one of the greatest photograph sequences of all time. In Blop 1, the Dolphins got a false start and then called a timeout before the first quarter officially started. I have never seen that happen. A timeout with 15:00 on the clock in the first quarter? I guess Mike McDaniel can't technically get fired for mismanaging timeouts before the game officially begins, right? Blop 0, Brian Dable losing his job because he couldn't bust into the blue tent and tell the doctor to rub some dirt on Jaxon Dart's concussion and get his ass back on the field. Dart has been evaluated for concussions 4 times this season. He's been hit 75 times and leads all quarterbacks with 25 designed runs. I think John Mara saw Dable coaching for his job at Dart's expense and decided to move on. And what I can't believe is Caleb Williams and Russell Wilson got another head coach fired. Mike Kafka is the interim head coach, and as long as he can hold on to a lead in the fourth quarter and keep Dart out of the blue tent, he might be the guy. Every time the Giants lose in Chicago, though, they fire their head coach immediately afterwards. And please, don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. We just crossed 819,000 subscribers. I think the goal is 830,000 by the end of November. Can we do it? Red Rum Danny, Red Rum Danny. Almost 10,000 of you are following me on today's sponsor, Prize Picks. Hopefully, you didn't use my lineup for Monday Night Football where nothing happened. I was pretty wrong. We're tracking to hit my goal of 6,000 signups with code TGS by the Super Bowl, but things are slowing down quite a bit. Remember, every 200 signups gets me a huge bonus here at That's Good Sports, and we need a couple to hit this month so I can line Will, Johnny, and Connor's pockets for the holidays. Sign up for them, not for me. Use my code TGS when you do sign up after downloading the app. New users who deposit $5 get $50 in lineups. You can play in the free-to-play jackpot every week for a chance to win $1 million. And if you do follow me on Prize Picks, That's Good Sports, you can see my lineups and copy and play them if you desire. And I see you, Bo Nix Glazer, Stephen A.I. Smith, Tony Romo Noises, No Curse for the Bears, Pride, Beaufort, Fall, and David. Just David. I needed one regular name, right? Sign up and play responsibly. And I'm sure having Indy Dana Jones in your country made some Germans nervous. Speaking of, our Indy Dana Jones shirts just dropped at benchwarmershop.com. They're there now. Go get them. Winners, German fans. This game was amazing. An early strip sack by Colts safety Cam Bynum led to the Colts' first touchdown by Jonathan Taylor. I don't know what this dance is, but it looks like some cool scheisse to me. The Falcons banged right back with Tyler Allgeier's 5th rushing touchdown of the season to give the fans in Germany some very cool scheisse. You know what's really cool, Germany? Really, really long runs by Jonathan Taylor and Indy Dana Jones dropping massive FDRs in your stadium to Alec Pierce for touchdowns. Cool scheisse. For the second season in a row, Alec Pierce is leading the NFL with 21.1 yards per reception. Cool scheisse. The Falcons reclaimed the lead with a dueling FDR from Michael Penix Jr. to London in Germany. Cool scheisse.
Nice play up front by Rook Orororo. Got that paw up there to prevent the easy 2.
Falcons rookie James Pierce recorded his first full sack of the season, and it was a massive cool scheisse strip sack to start the third. Atlanta had 7 sacks and forced 2 turnovers and still gave up 519 yards of offense to Indy. Sauce Gardner made his debut with the Colts, had a nice pass breakup, which is a polite way of saying Sauce can't really catch. Winning run, my MVP Jonathan Taylor, who surpassed Bijan Robinson for the longest run of the year on his career best 83-yard touchdown scamper in the 4th. I mean, Taylor disappears into a conclave of linemen on 2nd and 2 and then reappears like Christ himself to just go cool scheisse all over the field. He did scheisse all over the field. The Falcons never gave up and flew down the field chunk by chunk with 6 minutes left in the game to take a 3-point lead with the 2-point conversion. Ultimately, we got a bloody-faced Daniel Jones in overtime and a chance for Michael Penix to win his own award. Instead of rising, he went down via a Zaire Franklin sack on 3rd down. That's when Jonathan Taylor solidified himself as the winning running back. 244 rushing yards by Taylor, 42 receiving, 3 touchdowns, and the third being the DOS boot to the Falcons' feathery asses to end the game. Jonathan Taylor now has the most rushing touchdowns in Colts history with 65 and hit 1,000 yards before anyone else this season. Taylor's performance was incredible, and it overshadowed just how fucking good Tyler Warren was. Again, when Jones needs a play, the rookie tight end is his target. Winning kiss, Chris Ballard to Jonathan Taylor after the game. What? It put me in the mood. Roma knows what I'm talking about.
This team is DTF, Jim.
Winning the Bed Shitters Bowl? The Jets. And I really gotta spread out these poop awards, good God. It just makes me look immature. How did the Jets look better without 2 of their top defensive players gone via trades last week? I don't know, but they beat the Browns. The main reason the Jets won this game was their winning special teams units. Achane Nwangwu returned and kicked 99 yards for a touchdown. And if that wasn't enough to embarrass Cleveland, Isaiah Williams housed a punt for another special team score. Breece Hall, fresh off not getting traded, scored the other Jets touchdown on a 42-yard screen pass. Breece Lightning accounted for 125 yards of the Jets' 169 yards of total offense. Losing stats, Justin Fields got the win with 54 passing yards and a touchdown and a pick. I didn't think there was a bare minimum to qualify for a winning game manager award, but Justin Fields showed us the floor and then performed just below it. I mean, at one point, the Jets had 14 points with 3 net yards of offense. And when the game was tied at 17, Fields had negative passing yards still. Despite being sacked 6 times, Dylan Gabriel did manage to throw a couple TDs, including a beauty to Judy. Congrats, New York, you beat the Browns. Now they can pick a better quarterback than you in the draft. So who really won the Bed Shitters Bowl?
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Winning defender, Will McDonald IV. What does the 4 stand for? The number of sacks he had against the Cleveland Browns. Sorry, Danielle Hunter, you got edged out by Will by a half sack. Danielle Hunter had 3.5 in the Texans' key win over the Jags, but DeMarcus told both of you to hold his beers as he scored not 1, but 2 defensive touchdowns against the Cardinals. And by DeMarcus, I mean DeMarcus Lawrence. I don't know why I didn't say his last name. While what McDonald and Hunter did was probably more difficult than jogging in for a couple TDs, scoring twice on defense is cooler and a lot more rare.
That's some cool shit.
If you watched Power Rankings last week, you'll know I mentioned DeMarcus Lawrence as a huge under-the-radar contributor in Seattle. Edge rusher DeMarcus Lawrence, who has 3.5 sacks and 23 pressures so far this season. Their entire defensive front is beastly, and that's why he's feasting. But I mentioned Lawrence to remind Cowboys fans, Jerry Jones also let him walk this offseason, and then traded Micah Parsons. And once again, I am proven 100% always correct because I am the ultimate winner. Dan Campbell took over play calling duties in the Lions-Commanders game. The Lions won 41-22. Dan Campbell is a real man of genius.
Cover your mouth. They could steal your order.
My winning offensive coordinator, Dan Campbell, and the Lions get the coveted Revenge Dagger! Oh! This guy's sharp, you gotta be careful. The dagger, though, for taking down the team that bounced their asses in the playoffs last season. Oh! Hear that cutting through the wind? This game was a slaughter. Jared Goff was perfect, 320 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs had 142 rushing touch. Fucker. Ow, the handle's even dangerous. What was I saying? Jahmyr Gibbs had 142 yards, 2 rushing TDs, on just 15 carries. Plus, he had a receiving touchdown, one more TD, and Gibbs, I would have given you the best back award this week. You were insane. Gibbs has 41 touchdowns on his career and joins these Hall of Famers for most touchdowns before turning 24. And Gibbs turns 24 in March, by the way, so he could very easily pass Barry Sanders this season. Jameson Williams had his best game of the season with a 119-yard day, but one kind of shitty flip in the end zone. Didn't really stick the landing. My most aware dance goes to Amon Ra, Ra Ra Ra, Ra 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 St. Brown for breaking out the Trump with POTUS in the building.
2nd and 7. Let's see what happens. Whoa.
And I hate to say this, but I think I'd rather listen to Trump in the broadcast booth than that dog cloner Tom Brady.
Tom Brady told me once, he said that, you got to put it in their hands.
Losing tempers, Daron Payne got ejected for punching Amon-Ra St. Brown in the helmet. Sorry to break the news to you, Mr. Payne, but if you punch a Saint, you are definitely going to hell. Javon Kinlaw got flagged for pushing a ref on the same play, but not ejected. Just remember, kids, Dre Greenlaw got suspended for a game for yelling at a ref. So, while Payne is in hell, Javon, count your blessings, because you got lucky.
Kinlaw in the face of Goff. Makes no sense to me. You've literally done nothing. They've scored every time. They've run it right down your throat. And you just committed a penalty. And you committed, but I have no idea why you're talking trash.
The Lions, under Dan Campbell as an OC, also produced a season-best 546 yards of offense. Dan saw a beat-to-shit and bad Commanders defense and smartly took over at the right time. Winning team, the Patriots. Tampa won the turnover battle, time of possession, but lost the game. The Pats, they're just a good football team right now. I mean, their box score is perfect too. I mean, just look at those perfect 4-7s in a row, a single TD in every quarter. There was a weird swing in this game. Baker and the Bucs were up 10-7 as the half was winding down. Then Stephon Diggs, incredible, toe tapped a touchdown as the half expired. Then Travion Henderson scorched the Bucs with the touchdown to start the third. So Baker Mayfield exited the game up 10-7 and then returned for the first time in the third quarter, suddenly trailing by 11. It's like leaving your house in the morning in perfect condition and then coming home from work and seeing that your dog has destroyed the entire thing. But Diggs' most important reception was securing the ball on the onside kick. His most important conception, well, that remains to be seen.
Finish this phrase, leave it what?
In. But if you want to see why Drake May has the best deep ball in the NFL, just look at his throw to Mac Hollins in the fourth quarter that led to New England's eventual win. Is what I would have said if he didn't fire this interception shortly after. I mean, the Patriots won, but Drake did give Tampa life.
Leave it what?
In. Winning rookie, Travion Henderson. And I never thought I'd say those words in a game with Emeka
Egbegbo.
playing on the field. A game in which
Emeka Egbegbo
had a $115 and a TD. Another rookie, Tez Johnson, had 2 touchdowns. And another rookie, Kyle Williams, showcased some blazing speed on a 72-yard touchdown rip. So all the rookies cooked. This game was so full of young talent, Bill Belichick tried to snap-face them with a dick pic. Maybe that's why Tony Romo said they're DTF.
This team is DTF, Jim.
He had a 55-yard touchdown and I don't want to say it because I know it will summon Gronk.
69 touchdowns, if you know what I mean.
A 69-yard touchdown run that put the game out of reach for Baker and the Bucs. Now, Trevor Lawrence didn't have a great day for the Jags. He was sacked 5 times, fumbled, threw a pick. That was really an insane grab by Derek Stingley, and he finished with just 158 passing yards against that tough Texans defense. The Jaguars were up 20-3 with 2 minutes left in the first half. They were up 29-10 in the third quarter, which means the Jaguars are this week's losing defense. You're lucky we had the Bed Shitters Bowl already because you would have earned that too, Jacksonville. How do you allow 26 fourth quarter points to one of the worst offenses in the NFL with their backup QB playing?
How do you do that? How do you do that?
one who tossed a pick as soon as the game started. You have to be a special kind of bad to waste that. Parker Washington had a ridiculous toe-tapping touchdown in this one. Parker, that is the winning catch this week, and unfortunately, they wasted your punt return touchdown as well. Davis Mills, he's my winning bench warmer. Mills threw 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, had a really impressive run for a TD, giving him 3 total in clutch time. Nico Collins, massive day with 136 receiving yards and a key 2-point catch in the fourth. But everyone contributed to the comeback for the Texans. Jalen Knoll, Jaden Higgins, Woody Marks, all with impact plays. And the opposite of a losing defense, a nasty Texans D that racked up 5 sacks. The 3.5 by Danielle Hunter alone, a game-ending sack by Will Anderson that provided us with the rarest of rare, rumbling, stumbling big man touchdowns. Sheldon Rankins, 287 pounds to score, is the heaviest to end regulation. The Dak Prescott Award, which goes to the man that no matter what he does, his team loses, is Trey McBride. Say his name 3 times and 3 women will show up to try and marry you. Trey McBride might have been the only Cardinal who was awake for their game in Seattle. Seattle was up 38-17, mainly due to those 2 DeMarcus Lawrence defensive touchdowns. McBride, though, had more offensive yards than any skill player in this game with 127. Trey caught 9 passes and might be an angry runs contender for this shoulder drop to get into the end zone alone. Sam Darnold completed just 10 passes for $178 and a tud in this complete ass-kicking of the Cardinals. Darnold was 1 for 2 with 11 yards and a pick in the second half. New Seahawk, Rashid Shaheed caught 1 ball for 3 yards, and the wildest note is Seattle turned the ball over more than the Cardinals in this game. The Michael Pennis Jr. Award going to the player who rose to the occasion is Caleb Williams. Now, his full numbers aren't going to wow you, and a lot of that has to do with drops by his ball catchers. I think there were 6 by halftime for Chicago, or at least into the third. Caleb's fourth quarter numbers might help rebuild Rome in an Odunze, but the former number 1 overall pick had 59 passing yards and 53 rushing yards on 2 fourth quarter touchdown drives to erase a 10-point fourth quarter lead at home against the Giants. I think Caleb picked up 15 yards while falling alone when he was running towards the end zone. Williams is tied for the most fourth quarter comebacks in the NFL this season and now has the Bears in the absolute thick of the NFC North title chase at 6-3 following 2 weeks in a row where he dropped his nuts in the late going. He rose, his Johnson ascended, and his nuts dropped. Congrats, Caleb. You are a man now. Oh, whoa, that doesn't mean you need to relieve yourself on the bench, though, Caleb.
This team is DTF, Jim.
Now, I almost gave Jaxon Dart with his 242 passing yards, 66 rushing yards, and 2 TDs the winning QB, simply based on how the Giants collapsed after he left the game with a concussion. Instead, the Giants get the Cam Ward We Ass Award when they are without Dart.
We ass.
When Dart is on the field, they are good. When he's off the field, they are bad. As Mr. Miyagi taught us, jacks on, jacks off. Jacks on, jacks off. And in this situation for the Giants, you want to jacks on. And there's just nothing more dangerous for the Giants than a lead in the fourth quarter. The least surprising thing was seeing Russell Wilson take a sack on 3rd and 7 after Caleb cut the lead to 3. That was C.J. Gardner-Johnson with his second sack, by the way. My losing prayer? Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson. Guys, God stopped listening to both of you in 2014. You better be praying Jaxon Dart never gets hurt again. Unfortunately for Giants fans, I've seen that man get hurt about once a game, every game this season, and I don't know how long he survives in the NFL. My winning game manager, Tyler Shuckett and Huckett Downfield, who had a near impossible task in his first career start last week against the Rams. He was neither good nor bad in that one, but the task was a lot more manageable in Carolina, and that's exactly what he did. Shuck fired a deep ball to Chris Olave for a 62-yard touchdown and closed out the game with a 30-yarder to Jawan Johnson to win 17-7. That's a big win for the Saints, just their second of the season. Hell, I think he deserves an Only Mahomes award for this 52-yard connect with Johnson. All quarterbacks should have to break 2 tackles before throwing, in my opinion. Shuck was 19 of 27, 282 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Plus, he's the first rookie QB to win a game for the Saints since 1981 when Dave Wilson did the deed. Shuck got written off more than any QB in the draft this year because of his age. And I know it's one game against Carolina, but it's nice to see the kid, fully grown, old man, succeed. Stock up? Literally just the stock for Immortal, the company that was at Rams training camp and did God only knows what to Matthew Stafford in that tin can to turn him into the best quarterback in football. Winning upset the Dolphins, stunned the Bills 30-13, and they also gave us one of the greatest post-game celebrations you'll ever see. That 60-year-old receivers coach Robert Prince breakdancing, by the way. Jalen Waddle was the first receiver to give Maxwell Hairston his welcome to covering NFL receivers moment. Hairston would get him back later on a pick where Waddle fell down. My losing trades, the Bills, who were reportedly trying to trade for Jalen Waddle and Quinnen Williams and got nothing but a big divisional loss. Buffalo lost this one because of 2 fumbles and an interception. Josh Allen had a weird one on a quarterback sneak and a back-breaking pick in the end zone. You may have lost the game, Buffalo, but you do get an Only Mahomes award. Last week, Patrick Mahomes lost after converting a 4th and 17. This week, Buffalo loses after Josh Allen converted a 3rd and 16. That may be the most Only Mahomes award you'll ever see. Look, the Dolphins kept it simple, and they remembered they're better when they run the damn ball. Devin Achane had 174 yards and 2 touchdowns and was easily the best player on the field. Any other week, he wins Best Running Back. Buffalo fell behind and abandoned the run too early. Just 13 carries for James Cook. Cook has less than 100 yards in all 3 of the Bills' losses this season. The only win he didn't have 100 was week 1 against the Ravens. Winning quarterback, Matthew, I no look, Stafford, I shimmy. Matthew, I no look, Stafford, I shimmy. Whatever they did to him in that immortal truck, please inject that same substance directly into my veins.
Don't look at me. Don't look at my eyes. Don't look at my eyes.
Against the 49ers, Stafford became the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for 4+ touchdowns and no interceptions in 3 consecutive games. He's got an unreal touchdown to pick ratio right now, 25 touchdowns, most in the league, and just 2 picks, 20 TDs and 0 picks in the last 6 games. We spent the entire preseason wondering if Stafford's back was going to withstand a stiff breeze, and now he's in that 3-headed race for MVP alongside Drake May and Jonathan Taylor, and his back makes me stiffer than a breeze. A breeze in a broadcast booth. Another winning stat for Stafford, he's no longer a complete and utter loser. He's now 115 to 115-1 in his 17-year career. I can't wait to tune in next week against Seattle to see if Stafford is officially a good quarterback with a winning record or a massive bottom-feeding, subhuman, stat-padding piece of garbage under 500. Good luck, Matthew. I no look, Stafford, I shimmy. The most stimulating play, the Arthur Smith Award, is going to George Kittle, who caressed the ball softly, tickled the edge of the sideline, and gently inserted the ball inside the pylon and past the goal line for just a perfect touchdown. The Jameis Winston Award, the anti-game manager's going to Sling Blade. 9, who completed less than 50% of his passes and threw 2 picks on deep balls to Justin Jefferson. He opened the game with an FDR to Jalen Naylor, but his accuracy just got worse as the game went on. Justin Jefferson fell down on one of McCarthy's interceptions, which honestly just made it look extra funny because Marlon Humphrey probably could have called for a fair catch on that one if he wanted to. The other one, that was the 9th interception of the year for 9.
It ain't got no gas in it.
That was a very winnable game at home for Minnesota. If you can hold Derrick Henry under 100 yards and Lamar Jackson to 1 total touchdown, you should feel good about your chances of coming away with a victory. Unless your quarterback posts a QBR of 18. Sam Darnold would never. After a full decade in the NFL, Derrick Henry has finally surpassed his high school rushing yards total. Fortunately for me, I'll never surpass my high school record of getting stuffed in a locker total. You might think that should go without saying for a future Hall of Fame running back, but Henry rushed for 75 yards against the Vikings, which put him at 12,127 for his illustrious career in the league. His high school career, he had 12,124 yards, and I honestly don't know which stat is more impressive. Keep in mind, he was not held back. His senior year, 4,261 yards and 55 touchdowns. God, imagine being a 125-pound sophomore safety, seeing 18-year-old Derrick Henry coming at you, knowing you're about to get wrecked in the open field and probably fail your geometry test the next day. Losing call, Dallas Turner getting flagged for using his body weight to sack Lamar Jackson. I know this has been a rule for a long time now, but I'm not sure what you're supposed to use to sack a quarterback if not for the weight of your body. Are you supposed to spin him around until he gets so dizzy that he falls over on his own? Let's treat quarterbacks like actual fucking players again. This, not a penalty, Dallas Turner sack penalty.
At what point do we realize quarterbacks play football too? We're all playing football.
Sunday night, did the Steelers beat the curse wheel? No, you did not, Pittsburgh. And Justin Herbert averaged 6.66 yards per completion while vanquishing you. My losing quarterback this week? The reason we have the body weight rule, Aaron Rodgers. The Steelers were thoroughly boat raced on Sunday Night Football for the second time in 3 weeks, and somehow it's more embarrassing to do it in front of a 90% Steelers crowd in LA than it is to do it in Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers had his most anemic game in the black and gold. The Chargers are an injury away from putting Scott Matlock at left tackle, but I don't know what A-Rod's excuse is at this point. Rodgers completed just 16 of his 31 attempts for 161 yards, 2 picks, and 1 incredibly garbage time passing touchdown. I'm not sure if his body is starting to break down because Rodgers is looking extra immobile, but I'm wondering if the Steelers are starting their late season petering off like a year ago. Or if the Chargers defense is just that good. Winning hurdle Jalen Warren, who was the only Steeler to do something cool. And this must be what Mariota thinks he's about to do when he jumps for some reason. The Chargers were the only team to get a safety this week, and the 3-2 score at the end of the first was the fewest points scored this season in the first quarter.
But eventually, somebody needs to bust one out.
So when I say the Steelers got boat raced, well, they were like a person stranded in the middle of the ocean clinging to a log, and the Chargers were floating by on a sailboat without any wind. I have one question though. If your dicker does a doinker, will you bust?
Dicker! Doinker!
Dicker, doinker.
Keenan Allen did set the Chargers record for most reception in Chargers history. In the lamest way possible. I'm not recognizing this record until he makes a real catch next week. I know Herbert was sacked 5 times, but why did they have to do the Chargers line like this with these PFF grades? Is that the worst line in football? Might be, Justin. Winning block Darnell Wright, who made Brian Burns look like a child when Burns tried to put him on the spin cycle. That's how you take out the dirty laundry, isn't it, Darnell? Losing game, Monday Night Football. Now everyone laughed at my Broncos and the Raiders for their 10-7 game on Thursday. Recapped here, by the way. Ain't that the pot calling the kettle black, Philly and Green Bay fans? You delivered the first scoreless first half of Monday Night Football since 2009. There's 16-year-old teens who have never seen this shit. The most exciting part of the first half of Monday Night Football was guessing which team would get called for a false start first. It was the Packers. And is Matt LaFleur training Christian Watson for defense like he did to Bo Milton? More like Christian Blopson. Winning Peanut Punch, Edrin Cooper, who got Green Bay just their 6th takeaway this season, but they have had one in each of the last 4 games. Green Bay is a lot like Denver. Great defense that doesn't get enough turnovers and an offense that just disappears for long stretches. The most exciting thing Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love did in the first half was exchange fumbles. Winning troll job, the Eagles, for taunting Packers fans with the tush-push celebration. A nod to the Packers, and only the Packers trying to ban the tush-push. Look, the Eagles won, despite Nick Sirianni dialing up this play on 4th and 6 with 33 seconds left in the game. Although if Hurts just throws a better ball here, that's a touchdown and a big balls call that we would all be praising. That put the game on the foot of Brandon McManus, who knuckleballed a 64-yard field goal attempt. Guys, that kick ain't going in at Lambeau in November. So my winning receiver this week is Devontae Smith, who scored the first touchdown in this game all the way in the 4th quarter. He wasn't the most impressive receiver this week. He didn't have the greatest stats, but he saved us. He showed us the beauty of a touchdown and a succubus of a game. I bow to you, Devontae Smith. I bow to you. 69 receiving yards in this game is like 300 in any other game. The Packers have now lost games to the Browns, Panthers, and Eagles, where they held those teams to 13, 16, and 10 points. Losing offense to the Packers. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Again, you got to subscribe here on YouTube. I need at least 2 million subscribers, or, YouTube's gonna give me the ESPN treatment.